Hey, this is Ralph. Welcome to the update this week on my VR game. This week was all about programming and improving the audio system. Before, I was not really satisfied with it. I did a lot of changes to it to make it really solid, because that is really important if you have a game and you don't want to have any bugs that the user experiences. So you really have to think about how you design and how you implement this in the programming. To understand how the audio system works, you have to understand the central game mechanic of the game. It is throwing a disc from one waypoint to another waypoint, and each time you throw it, you get teleported to the next waypoint. If you manage to successfully catch a disc, you then trigger two kinds of events. One is to activate game objects which are at your current location, and deactivate game objects which are at your last location. These kinds of game objects could be literally anything. They could be obstacles the user has to avoid, but it could be any kind of in-game object. The other kind of event that gets triggered is to stop and play music. This music consists of a clip and the channel information, and each clip or music clip contains MIDI data, which is information about the time, the pitch and the velocity of the note that gets currently played. And the other information is the audio data. That's usually the stuff you directly hear over your headphones. The special part about the MIDI data is the game objects that get activated at this current waypoint listen to the MIDI data information, which is the timing and the pitch and the velocity. And according to this kind of information, the game object can change. For example, its color or the position. So where does all the audio and MIDI information come from? It comes from a program called Cubase, which is a music production software. Inside of Cubase you can create your own sound effects and your own music loops, and after I've composed my own music loops, I do export them into two kinds of files which I have talked about. One is a MIDI file that contains all the information about the pitches, about the timing of the notes, and the other file is an audio file, a regular audio file like a wave, and this gets then imported into Unity. Unfortunately, Unity cannot read any MIDI files, so I had to write a little script that lets me convert the MIDI files into a serialized data file. This serialized data file then gets deserialized at the beginning of the game, and it reads all the MIDI data into event data that can then be used to trigger the events inside of the game. So that is all the work I did this week. I'm quite happy with the results. I think I now got a really solid programming system. No more prototyping code, which is a bit buggy and stuff. And that is really, really important for an analyzed game, that you don't have any unsure code and you have the really solid design. So the plan of next week is to now hopefully return to the level design part, and I can now probably really build upon this kind of basic foundation of programming and really focus my energy more on the visuals. Also, I have not forgotten about them, and also the mood. I will have to go back into the music production software and try out different kinds of music effects. And I still have not forgotten about the shader programming. I still have to do some research more into what I want to do. Also do some tutorials still, because my shader knowledge is really just basic and I have to brush up on my skills a bit. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting journey for me, and hopefully also for you to watch. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you have any questions, you can also ask them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer them. So see you next week then. Bye bye.